Lord, bear me strength. Hey guys, it's Seho. Welcome back. I'm sorry I'm a little out of breath. I just had to chase my dog because he's a big dumb dummy and tried to run out into the road. It is time to get comfortably uncomfortable. This is probably how things are going to be with us. We are the kind of friends who are going to talk about the deep issues. So we need to be able to talk about things that make us uncomfortable. This is a tough subject matter because I'm going to talk about my poor relationship with food. Actually, this is perfect timing for this talk. And I don't want to go into depth and education on what an eating disorder is because you're able to look that up for yourself. I don't have any kind of diagnosis, and I'm also not a psychiatrist, therapist, medical doctor, so I don't really have any place telling you anything that like WebMD can tell you. I have had maybe not a severe eating disorder, right? I don't know, but I've definitely had a bad relationship with food my entire life. I actually remember some things, like when I was 8, I was a skinny little girl. And I had just, a little bit pinch of baby fat on my tummy because I was a little girl. One of my older brothers did a tickle thing and said something about the fat there. This is not his fault the way I am now. But that really resonated with me, and I thought I was fat for a long time. I'm just saying that stuck in my brain a certain way, and I've always been that way, where I just thought I was fat. Gosh, looking back at pictures of me even as a senior in high school when I thought I was just such a fat cow, I was thin. I wasn't skinny ever. I mean, once I hit puberty, right, and started filling out, I wasn't skinny, but I was thin. There was a summer I was babysitting. It wasn't the first summer I was babysitting, but it was the summer that I can remember this becoming a problem. And that is that I was babysitting and I was left to my own devices the whole summer when the parents were at work and I was out at the house with the kids, and the mom had all these snacks and I would just eat the snacks. I would just eat snacks. And I was just oh man, I can just eat all these snacks and I'm not getting full or whatever. So for some reason, there was something biological in me going on. I was probably 15 years old, that I was just eating all those snacks and then I didn't see the weight gain hit me until fall time, when it was go back to school time and stop wearing summer shorts and wear my jeans. And then my jeans didn't fit. So after that, I was just convinced I was huge and fat. And like I said, I looked at my senior prom picture a couple years ago, and I was not fat by any means, but I even thought I was fat then. Well, I moved out of my home, right, as a person does when they graduate high school and they move on to the next thing. And I moved in with a boyfriend of mine at the time. I was working and I was having a hard transition anyway, from moving 1,000-ish miles away from my parents and my family and everything I knew, and my best friend. I moved there and I had to get a job, and it was the worst job ever, and I hated it, and I had a commute to work that was 35 minutes or so of a commute, and I would get home and I would eat what at the time I called poor boy nachos, which was just, I would take a bunch of club crackers and put them on a plate and shred all of this cheese on these and nuke it and just eat it. I'd nuke it to where the cheese was beyond melted and eat it because I don't know, because it was good, whatever. But I would make a huge plate of that every night and then eat a big dinner. You eat what's on your plate. You don't just eat what you want, you eat the whole thing on your plate. Right? That's how you're raised, right? So I would just eat. So then that kind of just made me blow up in weight, right? I went from 160 pounds to 220 pounds in way less than a year. That was very hard on me. that, of course, like physically and mentally, right? And then I freaking the whole rest of the time I lived in Wisconsin, I was trying to get that weight off my body, but I didn't, even though you think you have a good understanding of something, I did not have a good understanding of the fact that like I had to have a good relationship with food, but I loved to cook. And I didn't know how to like cook single serving or enough for 2 people. And my boyfriend at the time was like this dumb person who thought it was like, he did not have an eating disorder. He just thought it was cool to not eat around me, like, and make me think that he didn't need to eat that much. And then I found out later that he was just like eating before he would come home and stuff and going to McDonald's because he didn't want to eat home cooked food because he was just raised on McDonald's. I was vegetarian when I moved out there, and then I had to like give that up, right? And because I didn't know how to be strong in my convictions, and sometimes I still don't. I gave that up in order to make our grocery bill less, because we were both eating the same things instead of asking him to make a compromise with me. And then we were just eating like Hamburger Helper and shit all the time. All of that to tell you, gosh, these videos are so long. I don't know how I make such long videos. That I started out with a foundation of poor eating. My parents did not teach me like poor relationship with food. Just trying to illustrate that I have had a foundation of a poor relationship with food. So then I broke up with him and I moved back to Wyoming. I dropped weight really fast. Like I dropped all of that extra weight off of my body. And then I went to college for a little while, and I was a dance major in college, and I was very active, and so that worked out well for me to keep that under control. And I was like getting a good control of how I wanted to eat. And so again, I was vegetarian. And I am not saying that vegetarian is like the way to keep weight down. I'm just saying that it's hard to eat a lot of calories when you're eating vegetarian, if you're eating good food. Then started dating this another guy, and he was not a bad guy. He was not bad to me about food, but he had a kid, and not very long after we moved in together, his friend and his friend's girlfriend and his friend's 2 kids from a previous marriage. So there were 7 of us. So I'm going, hey, I know how to cook home cooked meals every night for a big family. So awesome. But I was still we were eating like roasted mashed potatoes, lots of spaghetti, things that are high in calorie, high in carb. I wasn't paying attention to my portions because at the time I didn't really feel like, I was convinced that like if I felt hungry I should eat, but I've learned now you should never trust that. Like you really have to go by the principles that I have like on my blog about calories in, calories out, and then fill the gap there of what you need in order to feel satisfied, right? Do you need it to be sweet? Whatever. So I didn't know these things then, so I ballooned back up in weight. So here is the pattern of my life. When I live by myself, I don't eat very much, and I revert to mostly vegetarian or ethically sourced meat only, so rarely meat. No, I don't have an affinity for things like pastas. I just eat them out of convenience. So I drop weight when I'm not in a relationship, and then I get in a relationship and I have such like a make it a family mindset that and I love to cook, and you can't just like cook all the time for yourself, because like who can eat that much food? So I don't really do that much cooking when I'm single. So then time passes and I get it all under control again, and then in 2015 I really got a good hold on it, and I was like looking great. And there's a blog about it that talks about some more personal things that had happened after that really illustrates part of why I gained weight. But then I got with my dude, and I again stopped eating vegetarian, and I ballooned back up in weight. And so this is the minimum 3rd time in my life that I've had to drop over 70 pounds. And that's really hard on my state of mind, and it's really hard on my physical being. And I'm older, and every time I go through this, it's harder. Every time I go through this, it is more difficult. And now it's not going to just fall off. Like the other times, it just kind of fell off. But I'm not planning on being single anytime soon. You know, if that's my like weight loss routine, is just to like be single, that's pretty, like that's a poor relationship with food in itself, right? So I have a lot of work ahead of me. Now, that's some foundational information. I want to back up a little bit, and I want to tell you, there's stuff I don't necessarily want to like spread around, but I can't, this is also kind of therapeutic for me. For the sake of transparency, if I'm to help anybody else who's possibly going through this, I've been through like the gambit of eating disorders, especially when I lived in Wisconsin. And a lot of that was, it was like rooted in the weight issue. It was more so stemming from depression and not knowing how to deal with it, and not understanding that I was totally unhappy in that relationship because I thought that I was, and I was supposed to be, and that we were going to be together forever and blah blah blah. That I think is the most in-depth I'm going to go into about that, because that's not what I'm here for, except for like binge eating and overeating. Because on top of that, that is something I struggle with as well, and always have. Or not, as well, I guess I should say. Tied in with all of the rest of this poor relationship with food. Because, emotional eating, comfort food type things. I can remember when I lived in Wisconsin, I had baked some brownies. No, it was this like fancy chocolate cake I baked for my boyfriend at the time's birthday. I can't just throw the food away. Especially, I have a horrendous addiction to sugar. So I'm eating it, and then I'm realizing that it's bad for me, and then I leave it in the fridge and I don't go at it for a couple days. And then I think, well, I would just like to have a piece of cake. And then I'm like, find myself like sitting on the floor with my back to the fridge, like basically to prevent myself from getting inside of the fridge, in tears because I want a piece of king cake. That's ridiculous. Like, now I know 20 years later that if I want that piece of cake, I should eat that piece of cake, and then I should factor it in to my calories in, calories out for the day. Plain and simple. But at the time I didn't know that. And it's just like sugar. I've been eating a lot of fake sugar recently, which maybe isn't necessarily the best choice for my long-term health. And I understand that. However, it is the best choice right now for me to not just binge on sugar, because I will do it. But like even yesterday, I'm looking at the wrappers on the floor right now. And that was a short one, but I will buy junk food and I'll just shove it in my face, and then I'll go home and I'll like eat some more food, and then it'll be dinner time. It is what it is, and that is why I'm in this position that I am in. So last summer, Father's Day weekend, we went camping. Gosh, I don't exactly remember like the whole gambit of the week, but there were like 2 meals we ate. The rest of it was eating out because we had to be gone so much for something. And so it was just easier to grab a burger at Burger King, go to the McDonald's drive-thru, whatever. No, we ate crappy camping food, like hot dogs and chips and oatmeal cream pies and s'mores and stuff. And I was feeling terrible. So I just said, you know what? From here on out, I'm going to eat clean. And I'm going to eat no meat. And actually, I went on a 3-day water fast. I did that water fast, and then I was reading about how to come back out of a fast and not just like eat all the food, even though that was a very small fast in terms of fasts, correct? I read that you should eat, I don't know, it was like eating eggs and something. So I just had a couple of eggs and whatever, I think like a vegetable. And then I was like, well, this is like keto. So I kind of did keto for like 2 or 3 days, and then I decided that I don't have a very good understanding of that diet. That's when I decided I'm just only going to eat clean and I'm going to eat vegetarian. And so I did for the whole summer. And actually even longer than that, almost up until the point where I had to come back to the office to go to work. And I felt better. I didn't like lose too much weight. I needed to get that relationship with food under control. And then the food thing got away from me again, because that you have to be diligent about. I don't even know how I feel about like cheat meals and cheat days, because I think that if I do that, then it just sends me down a spiral of wanting to binge, because I have that food addiction and I have the sugar addiction, and like there's a feeling in my stomach that I look for. I don't know how to explain it. There's a feeling in my stomach that I look for that I sometimes get. Like the only time I can actually get it is when I'm eating like my homemade sushi, because I think it's the rice with the coconut milk in it. But I'm always looking for that. Like I've picked up on the fact of that, and then like stuffing all this food in my body, like trying to find it, and I don't find it. I made the decision that I'm going to just only put the things in my body that don't make me feel like shit. Let's talk about weight for a second. Or a while, actually. It's a real conversation that needs to be had. I know there's all kinds of content that exists that has to do with weight. I mean, it's an issue in this world, especially in this country, in the United States, where overweight is just like a lifestyle. And I've been fighting my weight since when I thought that I was overweight and I was not. I decided to turn the camera on right now because I left work a little early today. Fine, we were done, and my first thought was I'm going to go to the gas station and I'm going to get like a donut and a pocket pie or something, and I'm just going to chow down on it. I still want to do that. I want to do that every day, and sometimes I go and I get like 2 pocket pies and a donut. There's been times in my life where I lived in a town that was big enough to have like 2 Burger Kings, and I would go and I would get like what I wanted from one Burger King and then shove it in my face as fast as I could while I drove across town to go to the other Burger King to order the same thing again, because I couldn't, like I was too embarrassed to order double at the drive up for one thing, especially when people like, I'm just like, oh well, they know that it's just like me by myself. I can't order double. I have to order just one and drive across town. And then also like I couldn't just be in my right mind enough to know that, for one, I don't even need half of the amount of food I'm ordering, let alone double that amount of food. And so then I just have this thing in my head where I have to just get it all in me so I can go start over, because there's like a monster inside of me. Just like it's been a while. I've had some good self-restraint recently, but I would go like buy like a box of Little Debbie's or something, and like I didn't want my dude to know. And see, that's another problem, is like the secret eating shit. I didn't want him to know, so I would like challenge myself, like it's 8 minutes from the front door of my house to the front door of like the dollar store where I bought that shit, and I would try to eat like the whole box, not just like one strawberry shortcake roll or oatmeal cream pie or whatever it is. I would try to eat like the whole box, or I would literally challenge myself to get like 6 of the 8 cakes down before I got home, and then just like bring in the other 2 in my bag and put them in the snack box or something. Like, who does that? So I just went into the gas station, and I something about the donuts I looked at, which this gas station has like good yummy quality donuts, but something about them I was just like, so I just walked down the cookie aisle, or candy, I keep saying cookie, it has nothing to do with this yet, but walked down the candy aisle to get to this end cap on the end that has like my little pocket pies that I'm addicted to, and these like prepackaged, I think they're called like Bon Appetit or something donuts. They have like 2 flavors. One's like celebration cake, which is like funfetti kind of, and one's like dulce de leche. But first of all, I haven't eaten today, so that's not the problem, but it's a problem. Well, I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to go down like the healthy junk food section, and I got one of these, which is like Lenny and Larry's Complete Cookie, which I actually like these things. They're pretty good. This one is like white chocolate macadamia nut, and there's 2 servings in here, and I'm gonna eat both of them, and I don't care. because the 2 servings, and I haven't eaten today, so this is my justification, has, oh, I read that wrong. Maybe I will only eat half. So there's 2 servings, 1 cookie, so they want you to have a half of a cookie. So it's 230 calories per serving, 460 calories per cookie. So even if I did eat the whole thing, I definitely have enough room in my calories today for that, right? Like I aim for 1,200 to 1,400 calories a day. I have a really good blog about how to figure that out, and I'm trying to be in a deficit right now. And it's better for me than eating a stack of donuts. Seriously, like 1 donut is gonna have the same amount of calories, and I'm gonna eat like 10. I have a full-blown effing sugar addiction. So it's not an actual sweet tooth that I'm dealing with. I don't need to taste the sweetness. I need the sugar in my body, and that's what I need to figure out and get against. Because there's so much diabetes in my family, I refuse to like go test myself for diabetes, but there's so much in my family that I'm probably just going to end up diabetic. That's my concern. And I've been saying that for almost 20 years now, so now I need to just like do it. One more thing that I want to add to this video is something that I kind of like was like tiptoeing around, and I really don't think that's the best way to do things, right? So the whole point of it is no more excuses, no more giving ourselves leeway. Like the whole Cameron Hanes thing, nobody cares to work harder. There's a book that you should read, I think, by David Goggins called, oh, shoot, I don't know what it's called. I think it's called Can't Stop Me. But I'll put it here. And I listened to it on Audible, and it is my favorite audiobook of all time because him and his ghostwriter kind of do it podcast style, and it's amazing. Anyway, if that doesn't motivate you to just do better and not tell people about your plans and not cry about the things that aren't going your way and just do better, nothing will. Honestly, put the food in the food tracker. Put the work in at the gym or at the home gym or just walking around or whatever you have to do. Put the work in. Keep track, don't lie to yourself, and just do the thing. I made the choice recently, and it's been, well, most of the summer. It's the end of August now, I can't even believe it, but since like I think before I really started the YouTube thing, to start eating food that doesn't make me feel like crap when I eat it. So if I eat pasta, I'm not going to eat a lot of pasta, or I'm going to choose chickpea pasta or red lentil pasta or something, even though it costs a little bit more. I've decided that things like the elevated cost of the healthier food, the cost of my gym membership, which is $45 a month for me, is something that I have to factor into my monthly budget because it is so important for me. I need to drop the weight. I don't want to become diabetic, and I'm really barreling down that road, and diabetes runs in my mother's side of the family, and it's even in my generation. I don't want to be overweight and sad about it my whole life. So I had this goal last year and I threw it away because I thought it was too big of a goal. I want to drop weight, and then I want to build my body, and I want to walk on stage as a bodybuilding competitor. I don't want to do the circuit necessarily. I might catch the bug. I don't think I'll place because I'm going to have loose skin, but I want to do it. And then I thought, why not dream big? What's wrong with dreaming big? At least it gives me a goal. I'm not going to cut back my dreams anymore. I don't think that in 6 months I'll be stage ready, but I do think that maybe in a year and 6 months I could consider it if I just keep this up. Okay, hold up. Yesterday I recorded the part where I was talking about not wanting to diminish my dreams, and I want to dream big, and about wanting to at some point be able to step out on a stage in a bikini competition. But I found this girl on Instagram last night completely organically, not searching for her. This gal lost like 160 pounds and then started to compete, and she's amazing. Keep your dreams big. I'm telling you, stay focused. Don't tell people what you're up to. Just do the thing. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a registered dietitian. You don't have to follow my path. I'm just saying this is what I'm going to do, and it might change because I change a lot. I thought this video was really going to be more of like a sad sob story situation, but I feel elevated about it. I feel pumped. I feel ready to move forward and do the right thing for myself and take better care of my body, and like taking care of my sleep, taking care of my weight. Then all of a sudden I will have more energy, I will be happier, I will be willing to do all of these things that I want to do, instead of becoming just like every other person in this town who walks around like a mindless zombie and can't even make eye contact with a person at the grocery store. So anyway, I'm such a rambler. I hope you guys don't mind. Obviously you don't if you're still coming back for these videos. I kind of want to sum up a couple of things that I think are missing from the rest of the footage for this video. I want to say that if you have an eating disorder, please seek help. If it is controlling your life, even if it's not an eating disorder, but if you have like a mental thing that is controlling your life, please seek help. You may not even realize what it's doing to you yet, or to the world around you, but believe me when I tell you, you're not doing a good job of hiding it. It's okay. It's okay, but there are people who can help you. You are not alone, no matter how alone you feel you are. But if you need help, please help. Message me. I'll try to find you help. Okay. But please like the video, share it to somebody that you think might be interested on following along on this journey, or interested in nutrition themselves because they're struggling with it, and comment. Tell me if it is triggering to you, and if you're comfortable, tell me why. Tell me the things that you struggle with food and your weight, and tell me anything that you've done that's helped, and we will maybe just form a community around that. So I thank you very much for watching this video. I thank you very much for sticking with me in all of my rambliness, and I hope to see you back on the next one. Bye forever.